What if I told you that the key to unlocking a world of limitless possibilities lies within your own imagination? In this video, inspired by the teachings of Neville Goddard from 1967, we will explore how imagination is not only a tool for shaping our reality but also a bridge to the divine. Discover how individuals throughout history have harnessed the powerful combination of imagination and faith to overcome seemingly insurmountable obstacles, demonstrating that we all possess a creative and divine spark capable of transforming our lives. Prepare to embark on a journey that will reveal the essential pillar of our existence, imagination. Inviting you to fully embrace the present moment, I propose that you join this exciting exploration in search of deeper spiritual connections and a broader understanding of how imagination can shape our reality. Before moving forward, I encourage you to subscribe to our channel to continue on this journey of expanding consciousness. Share this discovery with at least 2 loved ones. Together, we can unravel the transformative power that lies within our reach. This video aims to be as enriching and beneficial as others we have shared previously, encompassing achievements in both the material and spiritual realms. Everything converges towards a central core, God, and our relationship with Him. Thus, we aspire to attain not only desired transformations in the external realm but also a true internal change, from our superficial mind to our most essential self, which is God. To achieve this, I ask you to share your dreams, visions, and experiences with me as you apply this law to effect changes in the material world, just as we did before. This enriches the experience, making it more real and wonderful. By sharing these experiences, we strengthen each other in our faith. If you have enough faith to put into practice what you have learned, share your stories with me so that I can inspire others from this platform. This will motivate listeners to experience it for themselves, strengthening their faith. So, share your dreams with me, for through them, God communicates with man. I want to clarify that when I speak of God, Lord, Jehovah, Jesus Christ, I am, or imagination, I am referring to interchangeable and synonymous concepts. I do not conceive of a God confined to a space distinct from what I call I am. When I speak of imagination, I am speaking of God, of Jehovah, of Jesus, of Christ. When I affirm that Jesus Christ is my deepest self, I equally affirm that imagination is my deepest self, although at its service for its purposes. Imagination, personified because I am a person, is my real being, all imagination, and, for its purposes, acts as my slave. Thus, I affirm that He, the imagination, awaits me, you, all of us, in a swift, impersonal, and effortless manner, whether our will is beneficial or pernicious. If I find myself in a state of negative thoughts, He, without delay, will materialize negative images out of nothing. If I change my state to one of love and kindness, this same presence will instantly invoke images of love. Therefore, He responds to my inner being with equal swiftness, regardless of my superficial state, projecting into space everything that I imagine. In this way, I maintain that the entire outer world is a creation of the imagination. If the outer world arises from the imagination, I cannot change it without first transforming my imagination. How much time is needed for this? The time necessary to modify the state that I am imagining. If I do not like what I see and resist admitting that it is a product of my imagination, the change only requires modifying what I imagine. I urge you to try it, and you will see its effectiveness. If it works, what does it matter what others think if you try it tonight and it works? I invite you to experience this tonight. I will share the experience of a man whose task includes publishing a high-quality, 4-color magazine. Faced with the upcoming edition, he felt overwhelmed and postponed the work. With only 2 weeks until the deadline and nothing prepared, he faced an almost impossible task. Sitting in his office, although personally indifferent, he recognized the importance of the magazine to others, especially to his boss, and felt a deep sense of responsibility. Suddenly, as if ideas were passing through the walls, he was filled with inspiration. He enthusiastically wrote 3 articles, edited the content, and coordinated a team that, despite never having worked together on this task before, managed to publish the magazine on time. Photographers and typesetters worked in 3 shifts during the remaining 2 weeks, achieving the impossible. What initiated this miracle? Before starting, he imagined his boss holding the magazine, expressing complete satisfaction. This image, along with the imagined words of praise from his boss, served as his guide throughout the process. He clung to this vision until the end. The result was exactly as he had imagined, demonstrating once again that the outer world is a reflection of our imagination. This story, and the ones that follow, illustrate the transformative power of imagination. Even in everyday situations, such as the laundry losing the pants of his most expensive suit, this man applied the same principles, facing adversity with the certainty that, through imagination, anything is possible. The cleaning lady insisted on stopping. She wasn't interested in the money, what she really wanted were the CTE. Upon returning from the threshold, the contact of the fabric of those pants against his skin was palpable, and he could even feel them with his fingers, even if only in his imagination. The next day, the dry cleaner contacted his wife to inform her that they had discovered the pants tangled in a suit that was about to be delivered to another client. In this way, the pants were recovered. Therefore, here I present the scene to you. Pay close attention and apply this story to what you are going to hear tonight. It was the middle of the Christmas season, and he felt especially generous and willing to splurge. He acquired a multitude of gifts and signed countless checks. One day, they received a call from a merchant informing his wife that one of the checks he had given had been rejected. She communicated the situation to him, which left him completely bewildered. He was sure that his bank account contained several $100s more than necessary. Convinced that it was an error, he reviewed his account statement, which he had received a few days earlier, and was overwhelmed with shame when he realized that he had made a serious mistake in his calculations and that, indeed, he did not have sufficient funds. He found himself at a dead end, and there were weeks until his next paycheck. He desperately wondered how he could resolve his immediate situation. Worry accompanied him even after going to bed. He considered the possibility of going to the bank the next day to explain his situation, and it was then that he understood that he had to cling to some hopeful vision in which he could believe. He convinced himself that he had to imagine that God was orchestrating the situation in the most favorable way for all those affected, those whom he had unintentionally let down and those whom he had planned to give gifts to but now could not. For all those involved, everything would be resolved well. With that belief, he managed to fall asleep, trusting that God would find the best solution for everyone. Upon waking up and heading to the bank, he still had doubts, but he reaffirmed his belief that God would work in favor of everyone. At the bank, the teller referred him to a vice president who, after listening to his story, suggested that he speak with the assistant manager. The latter, without asking him questions, just looked at him and asked when he thought he could resolve the situation. After informing him of the date of his next paycheck, the assistant manager assured him that all the checks would be covered without the need to inquire how many were left to be paid. 2 days later, he received an extraordinary bonus from his boss, almost 10 times the amount of the outstanding checks, in recognition of his excellent performance at the company. And curiously, he received this reward while wearing the suit with the pants that had been recovered. Later, he went to the bank to make a deposit, dressed in the same suit, and considered it appropriate to thank the assistant manager for his generosity. On the manager's face, he perceived a veiled sadness, who explained that it was because they had not received any new checks to process on his behalf. At the conclusion of his story, he reflected, "Imagination creates reality. There are not enough words to thank you, but I must try. Sharing such experiences with me is the greatest gift you could offer me. If I had received a check, I would have simply spent it. I have squandered everything I have earned or received, except what came from my father, and if it weren't for that family legacy, I would have squandered it long ago. But experiences are not spent, they are shared. I can narrate them to my friends in New York, Barbados, or San Francisco. This refers to biblical teachings. It is applying the divine principle and verifying it, for our imagination is God. I repeat, our imagination is divine. God, Jehovah, the Lord, Jesus Christ, the I Am, are interchangeable concepts. Imagination is the creative power in me, the same one that underlies all my faculties, including perception, manifesting itself more directly in the form of productive fantasy. When he found himself without a magazine, without articles, without anything tangible, and felt ashamed and selfish for letting down those who depended on him, he assumed the desired outcome. That is using fantasy productively. He visualized his boss praising the magazine as the best edition to date. That was the scene he chose to believe in, and everything else, the articles, the stories, the art, aligned to make that vision a reality. Imagination shapes our reality. If you want to find God, you must think big. He is your imagination, speaking to you through desires, dreams, and visions, revealing your relationship with the divine. Everything is related to God, not to the outer world, which is nothing more than a shadow. Every dream, no matter how insignificant it may seem, has a profound meaning for the one who dreams it and for God, who speaks through it. And that inner God is our true self. I repeat, Jesus Christ is my most authentic self, but he is also the one who submits to my desires, good or bad, to manifest them. My desire instantly becomes reality, and that, they say, is the work of a wonderful imagination. But I affirm that it is the work of God. By learning to love that divine presence within us, because it has been poured into our essence, we are not two but one, called to unite completely. From self-expulsion, we are called to return through infinite levels of consciousness, revealed in our dreams, which indicate our place on the path back to unity with the divine. The scriptures are the guide to discovering where we are on this spiritual journey. Paul teaches us, we must learn to live according to the scriptures, to find in them a parallel with our dreams, even if it is not an exact copy. God speaks to us constantly, inviting us to return to him, unveiling our true essence layer by layer, until, finally, we merge into unity with him. This man, in his search, needed something beyond mere imagination, something he could truly believe in. Imagination is limitless, but belief is the true engine of change. Therefore, he sought a scene in which he could place his faith without causing harm to anyone. He firmly believed that God would find the best possible solution to his dilemma. Without questioning how, he acted with the conviction that God would work in his favor. Therefore, I say to you, visualize the desired outcome. The end is our starting point. Attempting to modify the shadows without changing the source that projects them is a futile effort. Instead, we must shift the light of our consciousness towards the desired state and remain there until it manifests. Remember, we are the light of the world, a statement that not only includes me but everyone, for God, or our imagination, is that light. By moving our consciousness to a new state and maintaining ourselves in it, the outer world, which is nothing more than a reflection of our inner world, will transform. By assuming that something will happen, we are surrendering our power to the shadows, when in reality, the power resides within us. Tonight, I invite you to test this power. Share your experiences, just as Paul encouraged his followers, so that the faith of some may strengthen others. Although it may seem impossible to change an unfavorable situation overnight, your faith in a new state can transform any circumstance. I ask you, who are you really? I affirm that you are God. It is not flattery, but a profound truth. We are fragments of God, dreaming on the surface, but destined to reunite in divine unity. The outer world is a creation of our imagination, a reflection of our inner being. Everything we perceive as external and autonomous is, in reality, shaped by our imaginative activity. We are beings of imagination, and this is the essence of God within us. Everything we experience in this world is the result of our state of consciousness. We cannot change the reflection without modifying the source. We are the divine body of Jesus, individual manifestations of a single divine being. In this understanding, the names we use to refer to the divine matter less than the comprehension that we are the creative force. In this space of shared consciousness, we can openly speak of these truths. I am here, fully aware, to remind you that we are all expressions of a single being, called to return to our essential unity. The most spiritual is also the most practical. In the world, we may be seen as dreamers, but in the stillness of our imagination, we are creators. Your shared experiences and dreams are the greatest gratitude you can offer. Now, let us enter into silence, conscious of our creative power and our unity with the divine.